Hello and welcome back to Nothing But Net, brought to you by Always Balling for the player within. My name's Mike Miller, and if you can't guess, this week I'm going to be talking about the NBA London game that we had last Thursday, the 11th of January. I say last Thursday, it's about 3 days ago now, and I'm still buzzing from it actually. We've had for the past 8 seasons, the NBA has brought a regular season game over to London. We're very lucky to get that. I know there's a huge amount of domestic love for the game, although basketball itself is not a particularly huge sport over here. There's also a huge amount of love for the game over in Europe, and we get a lot of Europeans coming over to watch it. We also get a lot of Americans booking their entire annual holidays around just coming to watch this game. So it obviously has a global draw, even though it's just a regular season game. And this one this year, on paper particularly, was the best we've ever had. Start the week off, I got to spend some time with Andre Miller. The video you can see online now. I spent some time with Richard Hamilton. That one's still to come. And I also got to go and join both teams at their practices and media sessions, which was absolutely fantastic. The Celtics came across very energetic and lively. Stevens was a particularly interesting person to listen to when he spoke in the media huddles. Kyrie was very stoic. Al Horford was very, what's the word you'd use? Probably just, he was a very level-headed, reasoned leader, as you would expect from someone of Horford's stature. Jaylen Brown, of course, and Jason Tatum, the youngsters there, were also very interesting to listen to. And over in the Philadelphia camp, Brett Brown was a particularly good and vocal character. Joel Embiid was particularly hilarious with some of his answers, as you'd come to expect. And it was also great to speak to other people like Ben Simmons and JJ Redick. So, of course, the game took place on Thursday, and it was, I hate football as a whole, but to use a football phrase, it was a game of two halves. The first half in particular, the Celtics came out cold. Maybe that was because they missed their morning shoot around that day. Who knows? But they found themselves in a 22-point deficit, managed to claw themselves out of it in the second half, when the 76ers went particularly cold. JJ Redick had a scorching hot first quarter, 13 points on his way to 22 in total. In the second half, Boston adjusted their defense accordingly, and Philadelphia just couldn't adjust any further, which was a real shame because we have guys like Embiid and Simmons who are the future of this team and this league, and they weren't able to step up on this occasion. Admittedly, 15 and 16 points isn't the worst performance from both, but it wasn't what we were hoping for, particularly when Simmons started off so well with some of his fadeaway jump shots and hook shots. I particularly liked Stevens' decision to put Horford on Simmons. It gave Boston a similar sized character who could combat Simmons' strength, because although I thought Jaylen Brown or Tatum would have gone on him because of their speed and length, he is just, when you see him in person, he's just huge, and he would have bullied them entirely. After the game, which the Celtics won, it was interesting to hear JJ Redick talk on his podcast about a crooked hoop. It sounded a bit like, just not bad sportsmanship, but just sort of an excuse, really. So I had a quick look into it because Kyrie Irving, who he interviewed on his podcast, seemed to agree with him. And the Celtics in the first half shot 22.2% from three, and then went on to shoot 52.9% in the second half. Their field goal percentage jumped from 40.4 up to over 50, whereas the Sixers did exactly the opposite. They went from 53.8% down to 25-ish in terms of three-point percentage, and then 54.8 down to 36.8, roughly. I'm trying really hard to remember those stats. In the second half. So the hoop that was in front of the Philadelphia bench caused both teams to shoot poorly. So maybe there is something to it. Who knows? But anyway, both teams, without a crooked hoop, will get to play again this coming Thursday, the 18th, in what will be the fourth meeting of the teams this season and the final one in their series. And it's at Boston, so it'll be interesting to see how they do in that game. I will be back with another episode. We've got trade season coming up, we've got All-Star coming up, and then we'll hit the playoffs. We're now already halfway through the season, which is just a scary concept in itself. But thank you very much for watching. If you want to follow us online, it's at NothingButNetBball. Make sure you check out Always Balling again, alwaysballing.com, or if you're following them on social media, at Always Balling UK, and make sure you check out the rest of my Hoops family at The Drop B-Ball and at Double Clutch UK. I'm Mike Miller. Thanks again for watching.